What's up, guys? Bear Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today I want to talk about a topic that I've seen talked about a decent amount on Discord and Reddit, and that is the playing optimally method. I'm going to show you guys an infographic we've actually talked about well in the past. It's the hero and artifact acquisition graphic, and it's kind of out of date at this point. It is no longer really valid in my opinion. Some of the things are, like, it's still a good path to follow, but it's not the end-all be-all path that you really want to do. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'm gonna give you my input. You guys let me know what you guys think about this as well. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Hit that subscribe button. Let's jump right into it. So this right here is the kind of go-to for beginning out of an account. We've gone over this before where, you build the Eloise, or of course the Garuda, when you can, have the copies of Eloise, your aggressor builder. You want some good 9-star support heroes. Building the tenants for Eloise, very, very important. But I do think once you get to this stage right here, this is where you start to deviate. Everything else on this, I still believe, is probably one of the best ways to go, including getting that regular crown. Don't go for like a splendid crown. Just get a base golden crown for your Eloise. But what the new strategy seems to be, and a lot of people are having more success, is instead of building this Vesa, because remember, this Vesa is not going to be your main household owner on Celestial Island, Cloud Island, is going to be the Eloise. This Transcendence Hero is simply support to help her survive and get some kills. What the new thing is instead going over to Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok. The main reason for this is because, well, he just has a lot of really cool abilities, mainly the chance to lower the enemy's precision and letting you do some really cool things when you do block an attack, including getting a huge shield that also pops and turns into a heal. So not only is it giving additional shielding power to your team, it's also then healing once they do take damage when the shield becomes ineffective. On top of that, there's a lot of really cool buffs if you do sublime him as well. I mean, ultimately the goal is to get him sublimed and get some Tree of Origin power going. Once you already have that on your Eloise, of course, Eloise, you don't need sublimation, you just need the Tree of Origin, which is kind of convenient. But there's a couple things really cool in here, like the Noble Sublimation on his Splendid block. Additionally, increases the buff owner's all damage reduction. That's an amazing stat for Eloise to keep her going. There are some other ones that kind of help as well, but none of them that are like absolutely necessary. The true bread and butter is the Splendid block. Now, as you guys have seen, we have Giant Killer version, so he does put out some decent amount of damage. But things like this too, even Bullet Dance here, Deep Sublimation, additionally reduces the target's precision. Like, we really want that. And then on top of that, their control immunity. That might not sound like a lot, but the fact that he actually counterattacks and does it as well, he gets a stun chance, is really good. And then of course his active ability, when damage is dealt, steals 2% attack of the main damage dealer. That's just going to help your survivability overall. And then it gives the scar effect and everything. You can even reduce their armor, all these other things that are very, very useful, and it does seem to be a better option than Vesa, because most of his power comes in his shield, where Vesa has a little bit more of the healing with shields to accompany it. But shields are always great because it's harder to cap your shields than it is to cap your actual healing. Now, from there, I do think most of the path is still the same. You're going to want to go for the tenants, of course, Tix and Carrie. Carrie's just an amazing support for Dark. Like, it's just the best Dark support you could have, even better than Amun-Ra in this situation. Tix, of course, will help you clear things like Tower of Oblivion, even potentially even get you to Death 100. Then you want to keep building more Eloise tenants because, again, you're pushing the power onto her, including that regular jar. These are the best tenants for her, so you're still going to do that. I don't know about once we get to here, though. I think going to here might not be, I mean, obviously you're not really going to want to go for Rogan because you're not going to have the Fairy Queen Vesa. And one thing to note about Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok, he is not good at Sea-Land. So pushing Sea-Land progression, I mean, you might want to build a Rogan to get a Sea-Land 20. I mean, honestly, I'd probably build just some other fortress damage dealer like Holmes Young or something to get the kill and get the Sealand 20 there before you get rid of the Hyperspace Hunter Island Mock, because maybe you can get you like Sealand 21 done, something like that. That's not really that big of a deal. And then this is where I think the transition happens. The second you get to your second Transcendence Hero is essentially when you say goodbye to Eloise, because Eloise with Hyperspace Hunter Island Mock should get you to the Void campaign. But then once you get to the Void campaign, Hyperspace Hunter Island Mock is he does absolutely nothing for you solo. Once that happens, I think one of the best, there's two teams that work really good. The first one being Lord of Fear Aspen with Sword Flash Shia. Not a fan of that one. The second one being Lord of Fear Aspen with Scarlet Queen Halora. So you'll notice in both of those team compositions I told you about, there are there's one thing in common in both. That is Lord of Fear Aspen. He has quickly become the best mid-game Transcendence hero you can have, because of course early game we're going to consider that main setup with like Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok. You can also run other heroes as well, but Lord of Fear Aspen I think is probably the best overall hero in the game. He can be used as a damage dealer because he has some really crazy Demon King's Might damage, things like that. He's probably one of the best CCers in the game for Transcendence outside of Starwing Jara with his fear effect, and his fear effect's really cool because it drains energy as well. He just has so much in his kit that is so good. You can use him as either the support hero to like a Sword Flash or the main damage dealer with the Scarlet Queen Halora. So building him and transitioning over is going to be a costly affair, because not only are you going to need soul symbols to swap over your Transcendence heroes, you're also going to need to start basically preparing to build these tenants. And this is why Scarlet Queen Halora is one of the good to build here. Now, you could probably argue, well, yeah, I guess you could, go for a Mockman. I don't think that's a smart idea. Queen is going to be one of the best options here. And then you're already going to have an Onkirimaru from the setup that we talked about before, because Onkirimaru is nice and perfect because he fits in both teams. This one here, you can probably build a Drake even if it's not quite optimal, because I feel like overall you might have more uses on your account for Drake. Or you can go the route of another Aspen copy, because the Aspen can be used to get you to Sealand 20. If you didn't do that already before making him Lord of Fear Aspen, and then further on he can help a little bit with his fear effects as well. His horrify effects is plain version. The only one that's kind of tough here is this. I do think if you go for a third Transcendence hero, if you go the route of Lord of Fear Aspen and Scarlet Queen Halora, the third pick is essentially Phantom Defier Elena. She's going to give a lot of good survivability to your team. The chances to dodge and everything is just going to really add up on top of those fear effects. So not only are not everybody on the enemy team attacking you, but then she gives you dodges, things like that. And you're not going to be building past your first house in this setup. You're still investing in one house. Your Lord of Fear Aspen is going to be the main damage dealer, but I do think you can transition away from the Eloise Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok into the Lord of Fear Aspen once you build your second Transcendence hero in the form of Queen. And I would make sure your Queen tenant is the one that's getting all the additional power that like your Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok was accumulating. All the power into you, then into this one, and then I think when you can build the third one, put most of the power into here, and of course build the other two tenants as high as possible. One thing you really want to make sure you're focusing on in the mid game is your Celestial Island. Your Cloud Island power is what gives you so much of your attack. I mean, you can see how much attack a full one is giving, and it's not even like fully pimped out, so to speak. This one's the closest one, and it's still missing quite a bit. You're going to be getting 7 to like 12, even 14 attack. This one's much lower. You can see how much Origin actually gives. Like, it's such a crazy amount of extra power that what the Tree of Origin gives in stats to the main hero. So that is kind of the transition that you do. Again, I'm not a fan of the Sword Flash one personally. It might be good for you guys, but I think going Lord of Fear Aspen, once you can build the second Transcendence hero, which should probably be Scarlet Queen Halora, and then wrapping up with the last one as Phantom Defier Elena. Once you get to these three, there's a lot of flexibility. You can build Starwing Jar for more support. You could transition maybe into a different damage dealer. You could build more support heroes, like potentially even a Holmes Young if you get his core going. There's a lot of options once you get to the fourth one. Heck, you can even rebuild Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok for your team because he's really, really good. So again, make sure you guys are focusing and planning ahead. That's one thing I love about Idle Heroes is you can plan ahead on your account months in advance and have a path. Now, if something new comes out or changes it, you can always deviate, but having that plan in place is probably the best thing for you. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this build order. I'm calling it optimal. Don't know what, maybe. See you guys next time.